Yeah, so I think I should start again that absolute income hypothesis is also the Keynesian income hypothesis, consumption hypothesis, trying to and I said the four of them, Mary Perino on the Monday, are trying to explain what determines the consumption of people, like iye táwọn èèyàn ń ná and things that they spend money on. So like what are the factors that drive, those things. So as we are going to learn in econometrics is applied, is talking about um adding mathematics, statistics to economic theory to prove if economic theories are correct or if they are not correct or if we can improve them and all of that. So adding maths and statistics. So because if you're learning your maths and the statistics, you should maths and statistics anyway, but a part of it that you'll be able to apply because econometrics is a tool and econometrics is data driven because bá ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí kí la fi kó lè affect savings yan interest rate income nǹkan kan but by the time tá a bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa lo data ẹ máa kó data pọ̀ to show if it is actually true so nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní econometrics ní tiẹ̀ nìyẹn so all of these theories too àwọn èèyàn ti sọ oríṣiríṣi pé okay current income ni ó matter jù ní lára nǹkan tó ń determine consumption táwọn èèyàn consumption patterns of people ẹlòmíì máa ní irọ́ o relative income ni o kíní kan so economists now gathered data to like show the relationship between let's say current income for example and current consumption patterns so tó bá ti wá ṣe analysis yẹn tán tó bá rí bí graph yẹn ṣe rí àwọn nǹkan tí theory ń sọ kò nǹkan tí data ń fún wa yìí kì í ṣe exactly what the theory is trying to say so after analysis has been done òun ni àwọn èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ sì máa ń come up with different possible explanation for the relationship between consumption and income so those are the things that brought us into these four income hypotheses now for the first one which is the Kinsha, we said for this one, the hypothesis goes thus that current consumption is determined by current income. And I remember telling you last week that current here were very, very important because that's the basis of this income hypothesis. Okay, iye téèyàn ń ná nísìn ó depend lórí iye téèyàn ń rí at this present time. So he then went on and said a lot of things, and then we were able to establish then pé okay even téèyàn bá rí owó like currently téèyàn bá rí owó kì í ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ náà lèèyàn máa ń ná lórí consumption and that was when we're talking about the marginal propensity to consume and the reason for it being between 0 and 1 in the fact that by the time you get an additional income you will spend out of it so your MPC will not be 0 and then you won't also spend everything so your MPC is not going to be 1 so it's going to be between 0 and 1 and we said there was a reason for that but there is a law tí John Maynard Keynes tó attach sí phenomenon yẹn mi ò mọ̀ bí ẹ rántí law yẹn yeah thank you very much the psychological law right so that explains why they now said, based on his own income hypothesis, that in the short run talking about the immediate time period, a very short period of time, saying that the relationship between consumption and income is non-proportional. So ohun mo wá fi ń ṣàlàyé ní ọjọ́ yẹn pé non-proportional tí wọ́n mean ni pé curve consumption yẹn kò bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti 0 mi mọ̀ tẹ́ bá rántí sọ pé kò bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti 0 so yẹn náà ń pè ní non-proportional but that in the long run it becomes proportional pé after a long period of time or wá discover pé okay consumption yẹn the line starts from 0 now again this is data driven I believe it must have been data driven so lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí Keynes ti sọ̀rọ̀ tó ní sọ tó wà lọ gather data lọ́wọ́ rí pé ibi tó ní pé consumption ti máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó fi ṣe autonomous ibẹ̀ kọ́ ló ti ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ o ibi tí kinní ti ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ ó súnmọ́ 0 ó jìnnà sí autonomous o so ìyẹn ló wá fi èmi wá fi believe pé ó tún wá jẹ́ kó tún wá come up with further possible explanation while that is the case in the long run so they realized that over a short period of time nǹkan tí Keynes ń sọ yẹn ó múnádóko like it was occurring right pé okay that line kò ní bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti 0 but then over a long period of time bóyá 30 years or something like that tó bá kó consumption data èèyàn pẹ̀lú income tó generate tó bá rí pa kíní yẹn ó ń tend more towards 0 so ìyẹn wá ní long run so we now said some professors worked on this thing and came up with possible reasons while the long run consumption line in the absolute income hypothesis is the way it is so and some of the reasons other reason Mary so looking at the first paragraph in 3.2 we quickly go to like line 4 line 4 tó ti sọ pé James Tubbins professors ni wọ́n yeah, page 47, that James Tubbins and Otto Smithies tested this hypothesis in separate studies and came to the conclusion that the short-run relationship between the consumption and income is non-proportional as ṣàlàyé yẹn. But the time series data show the long run to be proportional. Now, what is a time series data? In fact, I think Isaac even mentioned in the video tí ẹ ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa yẹn. So a time series data is the data that shows a variable at different time periods. Cross section and all of that. Exactly. So time series data ó máa ń show nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ sí variable ẹyọ kan péré over a different time period. So a kàn lè wo consumption between year 1980 to year 2020. That's a 40-year period. It's like the time series data sharing TN. So when they now looked at the time series data, they now realized that long run is proportional. That is, that line is tending towards zero instead of being far away from zero. So they now said, okay, the latter consumption income behavior results through an upward shift, that is, or drift in the short run proportional consumption function due to factors other than income. Now, these factors are discussed as under number one. James Thomas um, he introduced asset holding in the budget studies of Negro and white families. That is, he conducted a study, right, trying to check the consumption relationship and income relationship between, like, among two different set of human beings. Àwọn tó máa ń pè ní Negro, those are blacks. Negro is like a derogatory word for black people. Tó bá pè wọ́n ní Negro, inú màmá bí tó bá mọ ìtumọ̀ Negro, then it's a racist language. Then white families, of course, to test his hypothesis. So he now realized that increase in assets holdings of families tends to increase their propensity to consume, thereby leading to an upward shift in the consumption, function. So what he realized then, okay, the more people have assets, right, given a particular income, let's say income thing is current income is like 150,000, but then you probably have assets, that maybe you inherited from your parents or all of that. So the more those assets, the more you will spend, even though your income is say 150,000. So cotton sonny benny, and that is going to be that's going to make your consumption line to shift. Me, any of the videos I sent you, what's in break? Can you hear me now? Okay, okay. So me, Moboya, the videos I sent you, Bia, where you come one best multi show shift in consumption line. So think about it, send you anything like remind me to send it to you like after this class. So my big consumption line saying loss. Okay, so at the same income, the same Y. So let me even again we'll graph on the graph on it be. Um okay. Although this one is not really okay. So it's not really okay. What I'm just trying to like let us know is the initial consumption line tá máa ń draw tí o kì í bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti zero yẹn. So ó máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa shift sókè, ó máa change the position. So it's just like this C2 bí C2 ṣe di C1 ní page 48. So bó ṣe máa lo òkè nìyẹn. So even though the income of the person, tẹ́ bá trace the point A ní graph tó wà ní page 48, tẹ́ bá trace the point wá sísàlẹ̀, ká pé income tó wà níbẹ̀ ní bóyá bí 150,000. So the consumption at that point, only point A on the first line, like that's on C2, like line C2. So but about line C1, teba mú bí ẹ̀yà graph yẹn wá trace point A yẹn wá trace that ẹ kàn trace ẹ̀ sókè like straight line sókè. Kẹ wá trace ẹ̀ tẹ́bá trace ẹ̀ sókè tẹ́bá dá padà wá síbi consumption axis yẹn. Consumption is going to be more than what it was ní point A, even though your income was still 150,000. Like, do you understand it? I should do a rough sketch. Okay, okay, that's good. So, so that was one reason that he said that okay, wealth is one of the reasons why the long run consumption line is proportional, right? In the sense that wealth makes people, as having more assets, makes people to spend more than they would otherwise have done at the same level of income if the wealth had not been there. So that was one thing. So wealth will shift your consumption line. Like that's the basic thing. But nǹkan tá à ń sọ ń ni pé okay, wealth will shift the consumption line. So if you have more wealth, níbo lẹ fi pé consumption line máa lọ? Ṣé ó máa lọ òkè ni àbọ̀ wọn á sísàlẹ̀? Uh, okay, if you have more wealth, let's say your wealth increases, right, at a given level of income. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ mi dé stage yẹn? Ah, ṣé ká okay, okay, okay. Yeah, exactly. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Okay. So I'm now. Yeah, exactly. So one of the reasons that he mentioned was wealth. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ yẹn? So like, ọrọ̀. So if you have wealth, or sometimes be a family on fún yàn lógún or something like that. If you have wealth or assets, so you will tend to like consume more at a given level of income. She understand nǹkan tí mo sọ ń sìn? So any okay, exactly. So exactly. So èèyàn ní ọmọ bóyá ẹ lọ́mọ $10, bóyá ẹ̀yin àtàwọn $10 jọ ń ṣiṣẹ́ ní ibi iṣẹ́ yín, ẹ dẹ̀ jọ ń gba owó oṣù kan náà. Tẹ bá wo nǹkan tẹ́yin méjì á máa ná ní a particular month, kò lè jẹ́ the same thing. Ṣé ẹ ti understand? So because ìyẹn ní ó ní nǹkan kan tó tún yàtọ̀ sí income that is spending out of. So based on that, the consumption of Otedola's daughter will be higher at that level of income. So ó máa shift the consumption function ẹ̀ sókè because ó ń rí nǹkan ná ju income tí ó ń wọlé lọ. So I was now asking that, what if you have lower wealth? What if somebody loses wealth? Bóyá olè or something, or maybe iná kàn jó property or nǹkan kan bẹ́ẹ̀. So where do you think the consumption line will go? Ṣé consumption line máa lọ òkè ni? Ṣé ó máa shift lọ sókè àbí ó máa shift wá sísàlẹ̀? Ó máa shift wálẹ̀ ni. So because consumption will be lower at that level of income tí wealth bá ti decline. So that was one reason he gave, that okay, people were found to have assets, so they were able to consume more than what ordinarily they would have consumed at their level of income. So at the end of the day, over long run, ìyẹn ló wá fà á tó fi jẹ́ pé okay, your long run kí ló ń pè consumption line is now is more proportional than the one in the short run. So he also gave another reason apart from wealth or assets. The second reason was the fact that after the Second World War, mo ti wà ní paragraph 2, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, line 5. So after the Second World War, mọ̀, World War that was around 1930 or thereabout. Thought a bomb everywhere. Kìnìkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. So when the war was over, so countries started industrializing again, and then obviously producing more consumer goods. Now, artists so me okay, artists already consumer okay, artists already consumption now, that the things that consumers spend money on, like there are three things. Me tẹ́ bá rántí mà. Exactly. Exactly. So consumer goods nǹkan tí consumers máa consume. So like it was now saying that another reason ni pé okay o, after the Second World War, then there was more production of consumer goods, which made people to spend more on consumption at their level of income. So ìyẹn náà tún shift the consumption line, ìyẹn náà sókè. So he's just trying to give different reasons why the consumption line shifted upwards and eventually tended towards what it was in the long run. So gbogbo reason don't give ni pé okay, gbogbo kíní ń jẹ́ kí consumption line, the short run consumption line, èyí tí ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti zero kó máa shift sókè. So first reason, assets of people. Second reason, increase in consumer goods. Now third reason, which is in line 7 or thereabout, it says since the post-war period, there has been an increase in the tendency towards urbanization. Now, people were kind of moving from rural areas to urban centers, so there was more of towns and all of that instead of villages. So the movement of population from rural to urban areas tended to shift consumption function upward because the propensity to consume of urban wage earners is higher than that of farm workers. So I believe pé à ń náwó more ní urban areas than in rural areas. So like nǹkan tó tún ṣàlàyé nǹkan tó tún sọ náà nínú ìbá náà ni pé urbanization is one of the reasons that shifts the short run consumption line upward and over a long period of time Ajeko tends towards what we have in the long run. Then number four, which is like the fourth line away from the end of this paragraph, it says fourth, there has been a continuous increase in the percentage of old people in the total population over the long run, though the old people do not earn, but they consume commodities. Consequently, the increase in their numbers has tended to shift the consumption function upward. So báwọn èèyàn bá ṣe ń darúgbó sí, of course, they are going to be out of jobs. Like, not don't let me say out of jobs, they are going to retire. Either you retire or they resign you or you resign or whatever, sha. But these people continue to consume. So even at like they might take it as maybe okay their previous level of income. So consumption, or even though they are not earning now that they are no longer working, they still have higher consumption patterns. Like she understand the customer so. So they are not earning. As you understand? Egba not for what? Exactly. So but àwọn they earn what they are not bringing anything to the table, but they are consuming. So gbogbo àwọn factors yìí lọ wá kó pọ̀ mẹ́rin tá a sọ yìí lọ wá kó pọ̀ láti sọ pé okay eléyìí ló fà á tó jẹ́ pé over long run the consumption line will become proportional, right? That it is going to like start from around that zero. So instead of short run, exactly. So that was just it. So a ṣì máa debate àwọn kìíní yìí. So ẹ ṣì máa sọ ètè like jù nínú àwọn for consumption theories yìí. So and then let us just like talk about okay because this can be a very fine examination question. So if you really understand it from like now, ẹ kàn máa enjoy ara yín ní tẹ́ bá ń kọ arguments in on any of them if they ask you. So the concluding paragraph here now says on this page says factors like this, according to the absolute income theory, have caused the consumption function, that is the short-run consumption function, to shift upward by roughly the amount necessary to produce a proportional relationship between consumption and income over the long run, and thus um, prevent the appearance of what would otherwise be the non-proportional relationship that would be expected on the basis of the income factors alone. So òun ló fi jẹ́ ká ní graph ta ní page 48 yìí. So but for me ibi tí wọ́n fi C2 sí I would have preferred pé C1 ló wà ń bẹ̀ because ibi tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn. So like that should have been the C1 which shifted to point B because ẹ wo label yẹn náà A to B. So B is after A. So like the first one should have been C1 shifting to C2. So the long run ẹ lọ́pẹ̀ ní CL. L yẹn standing for long run. Yes, you understand me? So bí yẹn ṣe so the C2 C1 ló yẹ kó wà ń bẹ̀. Then next one C2 then CL. Yeah. Bí mo ṣe like material yìí tó reading it continuously mo ń rí typographical errors gan bẹ̀. So like even apart from the parts that is ṣe yìí I'll come out to get typographical errors. So if you're asked to discuss if this was an examination question and you're asked to discuss the sorry Keynesian income hypothesis or the yeah if you ask to discuss the Keynesian income hypothesis or the absolute income hypothesis, so the Bible only can discuss it bí a exam question. So kí ni àwọn nǹkan tí ó yẹ kí ẹ include? So number one, the names of those who came up with it, with the theory. So irú eléyìí sọ okay John Maynard Keynes ni, so like the name should be there. No. Tẹ́ bá padà sáti bẹ̀rẹ̀ 3.2 John Maynard Keynes so àwọn Tobin àti Otto àwọn yẹn tún ṣiṣẹ́ mọ̀ lórí ẹ̀ ní but John Maynard Keynes gangan. You understand? So like the propounder of the hypothesis was John Maynard Keynes. So you will talk about the name of the person, Then number two, kí ni relationship tó sọ? So òun current consumption, current income ni. So like ẹ mọ̀ wọ́n tún tẹnu mọ́ current. Ẹ̀hẹ́n, ẹ̀hẹ́n, exactly, exactly, current and this thing. Ẹ̀hẹ́n, exactly, yeah. So gbogbo nǹkan tó ń sọ, so ó padà discover pé kì í short run ló ti work. So in trying to explain the long run phenomenon, ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ ti máa gbé Tobins àti Otto wọlé. So they mention some things that makes the consumption line to become proportional in the long run. So our factors in ìtẹ́bádẹ́ rántí ń bẹ̀ ni, but mẹ́rin ló wà ń bì. Tó yẹ pé mẹ́ta lè kò bá àdìjú tẹ́lẹ̀ tí àwọn rántí bí i mẹ́ta tó dẹ̀ discuss ẹ̀ dáadáa. So because here you're just trying to explain why the curve is shifting up. So ẹ máa sọ lórí yẹn náà. Then you must talk about the MPC. Why the MPC is between 0 and 1. So you must talk about the MPC. And then àwa sọ lórí APC náà. Yeah, yeah, talk, a sọ lórí APC pé in the short run tẹ́ bá rántí APC máa ju MPC lọ, but in the long run ọmọ méjì máa wá equal. But in the long run àwọn méjì máa exactly. Ó ti ń pọ̀. Yeah, in the long run, based on that graph, tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti 0 yẹn, so in the long run, máa equal. I think I sent you an image to that effect. In the long, well, we can put it that way. And we can put it that way too. But nǹkan tí proportional yẹn mean normally ni pé MPC yín ó sọ pé proportional yẹn sọ pé gbogbo income kọ́ lèèyàn ná lórí consumption. Nǹkan tí proportional yẹn sọ nìyẹn. Nǹkan tí non-proportional tó ń sọ ní short run yẹn pé gbogbo income kọ́ lèèyàn ná lórí consumption. But tó bá ti wá di long run, gbogbo consumption yìí will be dependent on all of your income. That is 100% income, 100% consumption. Just you understand? So nísìn tí income yìí bá a ṣe àwọn calculation kan ní last time pé tí income yìí bá increase by 10% for example, consumption yìí might increase by 7%. But ní long run, tí income yìí bá increase by 10%, consumption might increase by 10%. So that's what like they discover like over the long run. Just you understand?
Yes.
All right. So I'm trying to like check the images. I think I sent some images to you. Yes, I sent some images to you. Yeah, it's mo pè ní this one. Ní chat, it's mo pè ní this one lọ́jọ́ yẹn tá à ń wò. Ṣé ti wà ń bẹ̀ mà?
Hello.
I can hear you. Hello ma.
Gbọ́ yín mọ́ o.
Èmi ń gbọ́ yín.
Mo ti ń gbọ́ yín padà báyìí.
Because èmi ń gbọ́ yín. All right. Okay, ẹ ti pin ni okay, okay, good. So I was mo ń sọ pé ní ọjọ́ yẹn pé mo send kíní sí yín, mo send kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀ àwọn images kan sí yín, mo dẹ̀ pé lé ní this one, èyí tí mo pè ní this one dáhùn wò lọ́jọ́ yẹn. So tí ẹ máa ya graph yìí, ṣé ẹ ti rí nínú chat box? Tí ẹ máa ya graph, bí graph yẹn ṣe máa rí lélẹ́yìí, kì í ṣe nǹkan táwọn yàtọ̀ lọ jẹ́ straight line o. Ṣé understand gbogbo short run yẹn, bí short run ọ̀gẹ́ short run mẹ́ta ló wà níbí, so bó ṣe máa slant lọ sókè díẹ̀ nìyẹn, so kì í ṣe kó máa straight bí ètò wà ní material. Okay ma. Lára images tí mo send sí ní last week. Mo ti comment under it again. So pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa ya graph yìí nìyẹn, so èyí táwọn yà ẹ̀ mistake ni, kò yẹ kó straight bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn o. So bó ṣe máa lọ bí short. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ rush ṣé material DLC ò tí ready ni kíníkan ẹ tó bá dẹ̀ ṣáà dẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ṣáà dá ọgbẹ̀rún ṣe nǹkan tó ní ṣe kó ṣáà ti ready. So but this is how it is supposed to be. So you may want to like note all of these ones too. So tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ ń ya graph yín, kí làwọn nǹkan tó gbọdọ̀ wà ní graph tẹ́ bá rántí? Features of a good graph. Title, labeling the axis. Origin yìí máa wà ń bẹ̀, origin 0. So gbogbo kíní ẹ̀ lẹ́ máa fi síbẹ̀ torí oníkálukú ló ní mark tọ̀dọ̀ ẹ̀. Ibi tó yẹ kí consumption wà ẹ fi consumption sí, ibi tó yẹ kí income wà ẹ fi income sí. Long run consumption MPC is equal to APC ẹ fi sí. If àtẹ bá fi lè ti lè memorize graph yìí lásán explanation yìí gan-an ó máa flow ni because nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ sọ ó wà ní graph yẹn already. Ẹ mọ̀ pé ní long run ABC máa equal to MPC ní short ẹ ti understand bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ẹ kàn máa sọ mọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ torí ó ti wà ní graph náà already. All right, so that's about that particular one. So continuing, so àti wá wà lórí kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀ ń sìn relative income hypothesis. Now ti relative income hypothesis yìí ẹni tó bring it up James Dusenberry. Ṣé ti rí past question any 300 level students rí ní school yín kí wọ́n ti fi ní idea bó ṣe bá bí OBJ bá wà ń bẹ̀ àbí theory lásán ní gbogbo ẹ̀ máa jẹ́.
Theory lásán ni o.
Ọmọ.
Theory ni o. Discuss ló pọ̀ jù ń bẹ̀. Discuss.
Ó ti dáa. Ó ti dáa.
Explain. List and explain.
All right. What's the problem?
Saving function kan wà ń bẹ̀. Wọ́n wá add variable bóyá mẹ́rin or so.
Okay.
Ló wà ń bẹ̀ mọ̀ bá ti dé
Yeah. Of course. Èmi náà ti sọ rí pé building ó máa ní G AE equals C plus I plus G plus NX. Èmi náà ti
wọ́n á ní ká derive function yẹn.
Okay.
Àbí ká wọ́n ṣà ní derive ní nǹkan kìíní kan wọ́n kọ́ derive yẹn bóyá nu function yẹn náà tún ní kọ́ derive. Láàrin question yẹn ṣá.
Okay. It's good that ní àwọn questions yẹn lọ́wọ́ so ẹ lè share náà so èyí tá a bá ti ṣe èyí tá a bá rí question tó súnmọ́ a lè dáhùn ẹ̀ ẹ ti understand bẹ́ẹ̀. So instead of kakọ̀ ṣe nǹkan púpọ̀ gbùrùgbùrù bẹ́ẹ̀ tá a bá rí àwọn questions okay question ilé mo fi pẹ̀lú answer ẹ̀ based on what you've understood so akọ̀lẹ́ bá mu náà díẹ̀díẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀. All right, so what I've explained just now òun náà ni wọ́n gbé sí self-assessment exercise sí tán ní give. You
are off again. I can't hear you.
Okay,
what do you say?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I said okay. I said page 48. If you self-assessment exercise here, only give critical account of the absolute income hypothesis. Òun náà ni àwọn nǹkan tí mo ti ní kí ẹ note yẹn. Ṣùgbọ́n kí ẹ máa sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. Ẹ máa sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí bẹ́ẹ̀. So nǹkan tó ń pè ní critical account níbẹ̀ nìyẹn. All right. So we now have the relative income hypothesis. So from the word relative, kí lẹ fi pé relative lè mean? Oh, God bless you. So, yeah, you are correct. I said God bless you. You are correct. Okay. All right. So, ẹ ń gbọ́ mi báyìí àbí?
Hello.
You were muted. Yeah, mo ń gbọ́ yín. Ẹ mute ara yín tẹ́lẹ̀ àbí? Okay. Àwọn náà wọ́n fẹ́ kọ́ relative income hypothesis. Wọ́n fẹ́ kọ́ income hypothesis náà ni. All right. So kí ló ń pè é sí? James Dusenberry lórúkọ ẹni tó come up pẹ̀lú ilé. So òun dẹ̀kẹ̀dẹ̀rẹ́ òun reject nǹkan tí Kingsley sọ ni. Òun reject ẹ̀ pa kí ló ń sọ yìí pé ó sọ pé okay o consumption èèyàn ó depend on recurrent income pé kí ni ìtumọ̀ ọgbọ́n yẹn pé kì í ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ pé human beings we have something inherent in us like we have something social about us a máa fẹ́ better neighbor wa ṣe agree ma yeah so I'm like that to show off so so our choice of sending our children to school for example is also a function of school tí àwọn neighbors wa send ọmọ tí wọn náà lọ so kìkan ṣe pé òkè o ẹ fẹ́ kọ́ ọmọ yín lọ school then okay school báyìí ni kò lọ based on your own income pé nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ kọ́ nìyẹn tẹ bá make decision yẹn ẹ máa fẹ́ better neighbor yín or at least kẹ́ wà on the same wavelength pẹ̀lú neighbor yín so tóun bá rán ọmọ tẹ lọ sí government school for example ẹ̀yin lè fẹ́ kẹ́ fi show pé okay ẹ̀yin náà wà okay right ẹ lè fẹ́ rán ọmọ tí ń lọ sí private school tóun bá rán ọmọ tẹ lọ private school tí wọ́n ti ń san 50,000 ẹ̀yin lè fẹ́ show pé okay ìtọ́ ti ń san 80,000 ẹ lè fẹ́ jẹ́ kọ́ ọmọ yín lọ pé all of us are wired like that so he's now saying that our consumption, our current consumption now is based on our relative income. Ṣé tí ráwọn differences yẹn díẹ̀ báyìí?
pé kò ń ṣe current
Exactly, pé kò ń ṣe exactly pé kò ń ṣe current income but relative income. So every individual wants to keep up with the Joneses. Whatever ti gbọ́, ó like kẹ̀ ti gbọ́ expression yẹn rí, keeping up with the Joneses, like trying to keep up with your neighbors. I better pass my neighbor. Nǹkan kan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. So he was arguing that why would you just say that so all critique current consumption is a function of people's relative income. That is your income in relation to my own. So kí n tó take action mo ń nǹkan tí neighbor mi ti ṣe. So that's like the fundamental thing about his own income hypothesis. Again, note the name, note the relationship between consumption and income that he said. Now let me read what is here. Are you following to this point, ma?
yes.
Okay. So the relative income hypothesis of James Dusenberry is based on the rejection of the two fundamental assumptions of the consumption theory of Keynes. Now, Dusenberry states that number one, every individual's consumption behavior is not independent, but interdependent of the behavior of every other individual. So, then number two, that consumption relations are irreversible and not reversible in time. So, eléyìí báwo mo ṣe lè ṣàlàyé tẹ́ bá rántí absolute income tí a sọ a rí pé òkè ìyàtọ̀ wà nínú short run àti long run.
Yes.
So but and ìyàtọ̀ tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé òkè o à ń sọ pé òkè báwọn èèyàn ṣe ń náwó lórí nǹkan ní short run ó ń yàtọ̀ sí bó ṣe ń náwó at the end of the day tá a bá wo long run behaviour wọn. But relative income hypothesis òun sọ pé kò sí differences yẹn in the first place. So kò ẹ mọ̀ kì í sọ̀rọ̀ pé kẹ́ lè reverse ẹ̀ pé nǹkan yàtọ̀ sí nǹkan kan pé no it is just like that. So nǹkan tí àwọn èèyàn bá ti decide pé okay báyìí làwọn ṣe fẹ́ máa ṣe pé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni wọ́n ṣe máa ṣe pé kò sọ̀rọ̀ pé ó wà reversible pé okay o bí mo ṣe ń náwó tẹ́tẹ́ ilé pé okay o. Okay ṣé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi báyìí ma. Gan like ẹ ti ń gbọ́ dáadáa mo ti ń gbọ́ olúwa ẹ gbọ́ dáadáa nìyẹn o. Èmi ń gbọ́ yín dáadáa o. Mo ń gbọ́ yín dáadáa. Mo dẹ̀ ń gbọ́ special guest of honour náà.
Mo ti sọ pé wọ́n máa gbọ́ òkú látọ̀ sọ nẹ́tíwọ́ọ̀kì ni ò dá lọ́dọ̀ tí wọ́n ti máa gbọ́. Wọ́n dá wọn ló darí àìsí ìrọ̀wọ́ ló ń special guest of honour.
All right. So number two yẹn sọ pé consumption relations are irreversible and not reversible in time. Ẹ̀gbọ́n kan tí mo sọ ń bẹ̀ yẹn àbí? Network mi ti tún sá lọ.
Wọ́n ní kẹ́tún explanation yẹn ṣe.
Okay, all right, ẹ ti ń gbọ́ mi. So mo wá sọ pé tẹ́ bá rántí
explanation yẹn ni mi ì gbọ́yé.
pé tẹ́ bá rántí absolute income hypothesis pé òun ní difference nínú short run àti long run. Pé okay o báwọn èèyàn ṣe máa ń náwó ní short run lélẹ̀ but over time òun ni Tubbins àti ìkejì tó sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí pé okay o over time a wá padà rí pé báwọn èèyàn ṣe máa ń náwó lélẹ̀ so ó wá dàbí pé ìyàtọ̀ wà kí ni okay o bí àwọn ṣe ń náwó ní short run àti bó ṣe ń náwó ní long run. Ṣé ń gbọ́ mi bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ṣé gbọ́ yẹn so okay but eléyìí relative income wọ́n á sọ pé pé kò sí kíní o pé kì í ṣe pé àwọn èèyàn máa ń change mind wọn. Ṣé understand ma? Kì í sọ̀rọ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn máa ń change mind wọn pé nǹkan tí báwọn èèyàn ṣe ń náwó is just based on I better pass my neighbor tí wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe. And so that's just the singular basis táwọn èèyàn fi ń náwó.
Based on kini?
I better pass my neighbor táwọn èèyàn fẹ́ ṣe.
Okay, mo rò pé number 1 ni ló ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa yẹn ni.
Òun náà ni mò ń sọ pé number 2 yẹn wípé ẹ mọ̀ Keynes ń sọ ní tiẹ̀ ó ní okay o decision ó yàtọ̀ based on current income ní short run and long run. But I'm saying that ẹni yìí ṣé ń gbọ́ mi mà? Okay, but mo sọ pé ẹni yìí pé òun kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀, so òun sọ pé reason tí àwọn èèyàn fi ń ná pé decision táwọn èèyàn ń take.
Try láti bọ́ síta bóyá màmá gbọ́ network mi ò gbọ́.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, mo ń gbọ́.
Okay. Mo ti ń gbọ́ yín báyìí.
Okay, so number 2 yẹn sọ pé okay decision tí àwọn èèyàn ń take pé kò wà reversible pé tó bá sọ pé báyìí làwọn ṣe máa ṣe pé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà lọ ṣe ń ṣe, and what he meant was that one principle ló ń guide báwọn ṣe ń náwó, and the principle is the principle of I better pass my neighbor. As you understand, so òun ló fi jẹ́ pé their own consumption is not reversible. Báyìí lè wọ́n ṣe fẹ́ máa ṣe nǹkan wọn, so that's the principle that guides them. So in formulating his theory of the consumption function, Duesenberry writes, a real understanding of the problem of consumer behavior must begin with a full recognition of the social character of consumption pattern. So by the recognition of the social character, kí tó wà nínú wa yẹn. Okay, so by the social character of consumption pattern, it means the tendency in human being not only to keep up with the genesis, but also to surpass the genesis. Only I better pass my neighbor. Tá a máa sọ Nigeria ní language tiwa. So keeping up with the genesis, your genesis are your neighbors. So ó wo àwọn kan tí wọ́n rà báwọn yẹn ṣe ń náwó. So you want to keep up with them. And it's not even enough for you to keep up with them. You want to like surpass them. So nǹkan tó ń drive báwọn yẹn ṣe ń náwó nìyẹn. So it's not just, you're not just spending based on your current income. So you are looking at what they are doing and you want to do more than what they are doing. Can I proceed, ma? Hello, ma. Can I proceed? Ó dà pé ibi iṣẹ́ yín ló pay jù. Ibi iṣẹ́ yín ó dà pé ibi iṣẹ́ yín ló pay jù.
Ló pay jù àwọn yẹn tó mi mo sá fún wọn náà ní jàre.
Okay. But I think we can hear each other now. Yeah, of course. Network you work in Bishan normal. Because I think you've been needing it to be sending files and receiving files and all of that. So yeah, Shemole, proceed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was now saying that, okay, let me read the second paragraph again. That in formulating his theory of the consumption function, so Duesenberry writes, a real understanding of the problem of consumer behavior must begin with a full recognition of the social character of the consumption pattern. Now, by the social character, kilo mean? It means that the tendency in human being not only to keep up with the genesis, but also to surpass the genesis. And genesis in the neighbor. So you are not just trying to keep up with their level of spending, you also want to surpass them. So in other words, the tendency is to strive constantly towards higher consumption level to emulate the consumption pattern of one's rich neighbors and associates. Something like that. Èmi náà fẹ́ tẹ́gbẹ́. So nǹkan tí òun explain yẹn pé okay, nǹkan tó ń drive consumption pattern èèyàn wọ́n fẹ́ tẹ́gbẹ́ ni. So wọ́n náà fẹ́ ṣe exactly, wọ́n náà fẹ́ ṣe bí àwọn tí ẹmọ̀ tí wọ́n bá dẹ̀ sọ pé òun fẹ́ tó ẹgbẹ́ o sọ lórí àwọn tó jù lọ. àwọn tó jù ẹ lọ, so ìwọ náà fẹ́ advance dé level wọn. So that's what I was trying to explain pé at the end of the day, people will continue to try to consume higher and higher amounts of things as it tends to like strive towards becoming like their neighbors or becoming better than their neighbors. Ẹgbọ́n pàtì yẹn.
Mi gbọ́.
I said at the end of the day, that people strive towards becoming better than their rich neighbors. So consumption wọn máa low òkè ni.
Okay.
All right. So let me keep on reading. And then your neighbors are not just anyhow neighbors, oh, rich neighbors. So I want you to take note of that. Rich neighbors. So thus consumers preferences lọ́fẹ́ kọ sínú material tó lọ́kọ prefaces. So thus consumers preferences are interdependent. They are interdependent. So it is, however, differences in relative income that determine the consumption expenditure in a community. A rich person, APC more àti kíní kan náà. So a rich person will have a lower APC, average propensity to consume, because he tries to keep up with the consumption standard of his neighbor or associate. Now, why tó ń fi máa ní lower APC? Ẹ̀wọ̀n kí ni formula APC tẹ́ bá rántí?
Change in
Òun kọ́ ni change o, APC kọ́ ni change o.
income over consumption.
Consumption over income ni o, C over Y. C over Y, consumption over income. Kò kí ń ṣe income over consumption. C over Y ni, C before Y. Consumption over income. So it's now saying that a rich person, òun máa ní low APC. A poor person máa ní high APC. Now kí ni reason? Ẹni tó ti lówó, ó ti ń consume high already. Ṣé you understand? So tó bá rówó sí, iye tó ní láti máa fi maintain ni nǹkan tó ń ná, nǹkan tó ti ń ná already kò pọ̀. Like you are already like a rich person. So when you get more income or something like that, or maybe when your income increases, your consumption as a fraction of your income is going to be low because you are already like spending heavily. No, tele. She understand, ma? But for a poor person to try to keep up pẹ̀lú rich neighbors ẹ̀, tí income ẹ̀ bá change, nǹkan tó máa ná lórí consumption máa large. Ṣé you understand? Because ó ń sáré pé òun náà fẹ́ tẹ́gbẹ́, ẹ̀yin náà ẹ̀wẹ́ tó fẹ́ tẹ́gbẹ́, tí èèyàn bá ń sáré pé òun fẹ́ tẹ́gbẹ́, ẹ máa ní ẹni tí ò mọ ibi táwọn ẹgbẹ́ tí ń ṣe kíní kọ́kàn máa sáré kú ni. So mi ì tẹ̀rántí bọ́ ẹ sọ dáadáa ná. But then you don't know how your rich people are doing it, but owó tí ẹkọ tẹ increase owó oṣù a little bit, ìwọ náà ti lọ ra nǹkan ńlá, o fẹ́ sọ pé ìwọ náà ti arrive. Àwọn tó ń fara wé, àwọn yẹn ti ní kíní yẹn tẹ́lẹ̀, kíní tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ lọ ń rà yẹn, àwọn ti ní tẹ́lẹ̀. So tó bá ní additional income, they don't really spend much more on maintaining their lifestyle like you who is trying to move to their level. So eventually, APC rich people ó máa low, APC poor people ó máa high. As income is increasing, the APC of the rich is going to become low, and the APC of the poor, that is of the lower, or the people that were earning lower income before, will be higher. Do you get that part, ma?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it says, on the other hand, a relatively poor man, we have an higher APC because he tries to keep up with the consumption standard of his. All right, so we are back. So I get the part here, Abi.
Yes.
So one other thing that you should also now note in his theory ni pé tí èèyàn bá ní owó tẹ́lẹ̀ tí ò wá lówó mọ́ ńkọ́, kí ló máa ṣẹlẹ̀ sí consumption ẹ̀? So based on nǹkan tá a ti sọ, ṣé ẹ lè try, okay, ẹni tí tó like ó máa ń try to keep up pẹ̀lú neighbors ni, pẹ̀lú rich neighbors, not just anyhow neighbor, tí bóyá ó wá lé ń biṣẹ́ or something, kí lẹ fi kó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ sí consumption ẹ̀?
Consumption máa lò ó máa já tán pátápátá ni.
ẹ fi kò máa já tán pátápátá fún ẹni tó fẹ́ dàbí neighbor.
Ẹ́
mo ní ṣé ẹ fi
ẹ
pé
kò ní sówó tó fi máa kò ní sówó mọ́ tó fẹ́ fi ṣe nǹkan yẹn ṣebí ẹ náà sí lé ń bí iṣẹ́.
so nǹkan argument ẹ give yẹn
Kò
sìn
ní income mọ́ náà.
argument ẹ give yẹn sìn argument Keynes ni absolute income hypothesis kì í ṣe argument relative.
Hello.
ṣé ń gbọ́ mi?
Ẹni
argument ẹ give sínsìn yẹn pé tó bá lé níbi iṣẹ́ pé consumption ẹ máa já wálẹ̀ pàápàá argument absolute income hypothesis ni kì í ṣe argument relative income. now kí ni
ni relative wa sọ.
now kí ni reason?
Okay, pé a ṣì máa pretend náà.
ẹ ti understand consumption ẹ máa drop but kò ní drop drastically as bí pé ó ṣì wà okay ẹ ti so àwọn kan àṣẹ pé àwọn kan tó máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀ gangan láwùjọ òun ni àwọn kìíní tí wọ́n sọ yìí àwọn èèyàn kan rí báyìí àbí gbàgbọ́ mà. So there are people like this ẹ pé nǹkan ò fara rọ fún wọn but wọ́n máa ní packaging so nǹkan tí relative income ń sọ nìyẹn pé okay income wọn máa drop but kì í ṣe kó máa drop gan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn because obviously when they were earning money they were saving abi so they will still be drawing so wọ́n máa dey save nísìnyí they will be drawing out of their savings now to still try to like maintain bí pé kò sí nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí wọn. But under kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀ under absolute income hypothesis ìyẹn tó bá léèyàn ibi iṣẹ́ for example okay current income current consumption ìyẹn tó bá lè kúrò ibi iṣẹ́ current income ó ti di zero consumption máa lọlẹ̀ bàjẹ́. Ṣé understand ma?
Ó ti yé mi.
But ilé consumption no it's okay àwọn technical questions kan wà tí a máa ń béèrè so like you be know so like if the person most of the discussion stuff ni so it's a very interesting kind of a thing. So the second part of Duesenberry theory is the past peak of income hypothesis, which explains the short-run fluctuation in the consumption function and refutes the Keynesian assumption that consumption relations are reversible. Now, the hypothesis states that during a period of prosperity, consumption will increase and gradually adjust itself to a higher level than for a family to reduce its expenditure from a higher level. Okay, kì í ṣe kí n mú díẹ̀ díẹ̀. Tí nǹkan bá ti ń fara rọ fún family, wọ́n máa gbé consumption lọ sókè gan láti fi keep up pẹ̀lú rich neighbors wọn. So kan tí eléyìí tí a ti ṣàlàyé nìyẹn. But it says to a higher level than for a family to reduce its expenditure from a higher level. Bó ṣe kọ kíní ní sentence ó ti dá ọgbọ́n ẹ̀ pọ̀. To reduce it from a higher level than for Tebawo Omani, the hypothesis states that during a period of prosperity, consumption will increase and gradually adjust itself to a higher level than for a family to reduce its expenditure. Hey, ọmọ fẹ́ kọ́ economics o. So, than for a family to reduce its expenditure from a higher level, than for a family to refrain, so like what's it called, from making high expenditure in the first place. So, kí n sọ the other party to explain nǹkan tá a sọ. Thus, as income falls, consumption declines, but proportionately less than the decrease in income, because consumer desaves to sustain consumption. As you understand, ó sì fẹ́ show pé aláàánú náà sì wà okay, it desaves. So on the other hand, when income increases during the recovery period, bí nǹkan tí wọ́n bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wà okay again, consumption might rise. So like the probability of consumption to rise high than kí wọ́n drop ẹ̀. So tí nǹkan wá fi lè ti ń ṣe dáadáa fẹ́ nìyẹn báyìí ẹ ti máa rí nínú nǹkan tó ń ṣe á ti já mọ́tò tuntun á ti máa but tí income bá drop kò ní drop consumption náà bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn bí a ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń ta mọ́tò ta lé kò ní á sì máa fẹ́ máa try láti máa maintain bí ẹni tó máa ń ra aṣọ 100,000 ní every month tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ ni. So ó lè wá lọ máa wá àwọn tó ti wọ̀ ní ẹ̀ẹ̀kan lọ́dún kan àbí ẹ̀ẹ̀kan lọ́dún méjì a máa gbé wọ̀ sáwọn yẹn máa fi pé tuntun ni ọ̀dẹ̀ nímọ̀ kì í ṣe tuntun but ó tẹ́lẹ̀ pé kò kí ń wọ̀ pàṣẹ ló ṣe máa dàbí tuntun á ra package nǹkan iron ẹ̀ aṣẹ́ bí sìn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn so nǹkan tí part yẹn sọ fún wa nìyẹn. So wọ́n wá fi equation síbi to be honest I don't understand this equation but ẹ bá rántí ẹ̀ tó bá béèrè lọ́wọ́ yín ẹ lè fi síbẹ̀ if you understand the equation tó fi síbi. Yeah. So ó wá ní give critical account of relative income hypothesis. So ara nǹkan tá a ti sọ yìí náà ni so èèyàn fẹ́ bẹ́gbẹ́ pé so you talk about the APC talk about the name of the person that propounded the theory. What exactly did he say was explaining the fluctuations in consumption? Báwo lẹ ṣe fi pé APC ṣe máa rí kí ló sọ nípa short run long run whatever bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. And sometimes wọ́n lè ní kẹ́ compare wọ́n lè má sọ pé kí ẹ kàn sọ ẹ̀yọ̀ kan lè ní kẹ́ compare between one hypothesis and another hypothesis àbí kẹ́ criticize. So tó bá ní kẹ́ criticize the absolute income nísìn ẹ máa wo àwọn adjustment tí àwọn other theories tí wọ́n ṣe so òun ló máa jẹ́ weakness because àwọn lè ò ní come up tó bá yẹ pé absolute income ti explain everything àwọn ìtókù yìí ò ní come up. Like ṣe understand nǹkan tí mo sọ. So ẹ lè ṣe bí assignment ẹ lè kọ bí assignment discuss criticisms of maybe like discuss 5 criticisms of each of the income hypothesis. So mẹ́rin ni wọ́n so ẹ máa ṣe research just browsing online and all of that ẹ wá rí just like pick 5 because these are things that they may also ask you just like ẹ kàn ṣáà mọ̀ like kì í ṣe pé anybody mark ẹ̀ fún yín but kẹ́yìn náà kàn ṣáà mọ̀ pé okay o àwọn kí ló máa ń pè àmúyẹ ní success ṣé àbùlá nǹkan àbí kíní kan weakness ṣá so I'll be following ma. Mi gbọ́ yín mọ́ o. Mo sì ń gbọ́ yín báyìí mi gbọ́ yín tẹ́lẹ̀ mà.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I can continue àbí.
Yes, let's continue. Mo tún ti ń gbọ́ yín o.
Okay.
Ibi tí mo gbọ́ dé ni you said they should make a do a research.
Exactly.
On the criticism of each hypothesis.
Exactly. So I call it should be 5. So not because I want to mark it, so we can discuss it, sha.
Okay.
Yeah, like 5 each. So my jet 20 bẹ́ẹ̀. So just in case, it's a possible question that might be asked.
Okay, on each of the hypotheses.
Yeah, on each of the hypotheses, yes.
Are they?
There are 4. There are 4. No, there are 4. Okay, méjì tàbí ṣe báyìí. Yes. Okay. All right. So this number 4, permanent income hypothesis. So nǹkan tí eléyìí sọ pé eléyìí náà criticize ẹ gbọ́ mi àbí. Okay.
Something that doesn't change.
Something that doesn't change, exactly. So that was not even what I was asking. Like me, not the question, but that was not what I was asking. I think I was asking if you were hearing me at that point. Okay. So permanent income hypothesis, òun náà tún ṣiṣẹ́ lórí àwọn weaknesses of our theories tó wá before it. So òun sọ pé kí lẹ́yìn tí a ti sọ pé ṣé current income ni ó ń determine consumption àwọn èèyàn ni àbí èwo tún ní relative income tí ọgọ́ tẹ̀ tún sọ gan. So like ó criticize àwọn méjì tó wá before it. So permanent income is saying that consumption pattern àwọn èèyàn kì í ṣọ̀rọ̀ current income wọn kì dẹ̀ kì í ṣọ̀rọ̀ relative income wọn náà pé nǹkan tí ẹ máa consume bí ẹ ṣe wà for example will be dependent on what you foresee to be your average income over your lifetime. like over a long period of time. Now, kí ni ẹ mean? For example, sìn bóyá níbi iṣẹ́ èèyàn ń gba 200. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ mi dé stage yẹn bá ẹ gbọ́ mi dé stage yẹn? Hmm.
Ǹjẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n kankan mọ́ bá.
Ẹ gbọ́ anything.
Hello.
Hello, yes ma. Mo ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ lọ tẹ́lẹ̀ bọ̀ mo rí.
Mo ti ń gbọ́ yín báyìí.
Okay. Mo ní ṣé ẹ gbọ́ àlàyé permanent income tí mo ṣe? Ẹ tan data kẹ́ pa like ẹ tan data yín kẹ́ tẹ̀ tún pa ẹ pa data kẹ́ tẹ̀ tún tàn padà o bébí kẹ́ ṣe ẹ ṣe flight mode náà. Internet ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ lágbára gan.
Mi ò fẹ́ dúró lé ní nǹkan tí ẹ mọ nǹkan tó jẹ́ kí n mọ̀. Torí pé two làwọn eléyìí ń jáde. Mo ṣe ń try láti ìwé ìfọjọ́ kan ní ìfọjọ́ kan kí n.
Oh, okay.
Ó kàrí. Hello.
Yes ma, mo ń gbọ́ yín ma. Ṣé ẹ̀yin gbọ́ mi ma?
Tọ́kì yóò tẹ̀ wá mọ́ mọ́.
Ó ga o.
Ibi tá a tún wò pa tún sá.
The internet is really weak. Sometimes internet ò tiẹ̀ ní show nǹkan téèyàn ń ṣe but at least ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ ṣe máa gbọ́rọ̀.
Mo ń gbọ́ yín báyìí.
Okay. Ẹ sure.
Mo ti ń gbọ́ yín.
Okay. So mo sọ pé nǹkan tí permanent income hypothesis tó mò ń sọ ń tiẹ̀ ni pé consumption pattern àwọn èèyàn kì í sọ̀rọ̀ iye tí wọ́n ń gbà ń sìn àbí iye tí wọ́n ń gbà in relation to àwọn rich neighbors wọn ní kì í ṣe nǹkan táwọn ń sọ nìyẹn. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ yẹn mà?
Mo gbọ́ yẹn.
Pé but nǹkan tó ń determine iye táwọn èèyàn consume is what they have the foresight like income tí wọ́n fi pé ó stable táwọn máa gbà for a very long period of time. So an example is ká sọ pé níbi iṣẹ́ ṣé ẹ gbọ́ yẹn mà?
Mo ń gbọ́ yín.
Pé so bí a níbi iṣẹ́ sì yẹn gba 200k so nǹkan téèyàn mọ̀ téèyàn ń gbà every month nìyẹn like ó ń bọ̀ like owó yẹn ń bọ̀ so bóyá ká wá sọ pé okay o governor Ọ̀ṣun state kí ló kọ máa dancing governor yìí so he came around then ó happen láti fún àwọn èèyàn ní 1 million naira níbi iṣẹ́. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ yẹn náà mà? Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ yẹn mà? Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ òun náà? Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ ohun tí mo sọ?
Tó ẹ pẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi bóyá fẹ́ continue pẹ̀lú ìkọ́dé yẹn. Bí n gbọ́ yín ibi tí mo gbọ́ dé ni pé nǹkan tí èèyàn fẹ́ gbà is not kò ń ṣe báwo ni ṣe máa sọ 200 ká ní 200,000 ni èèyàn gbà.
Lèèyàn gbà tó dẹ̀ steady.
Nǹkan tí permanent ń sọ ni tó steady ibi tí mo gbọ́ dé nìyẹn. Ẹni kò ń ṣe nǹkan tí permanent rí.
Okay. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n continue. Ẹ gbọ́ nǹkan tí mo sọ báyìí àbí?
Mo ti ń gbọ́ yín bá.
Okay. So mo ní kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀? Bóyá èèyàn gba 200,000 naira lóṣù ìyẹn steady you know that as long as you are going to work it is going to come. So ìyẹn wà bẹ́ẹ̀. Mo wá lókè governor Ọ̀ṣun state ó wá kí n níbi iṣẹ́ inú ẹ̀ dùn sí iṣẹ́ takuntakun tí everybody ń ṣe so ó wá fún yín ní 1 million. Ṣé okay 1 million yẹn windfall a máa ń pè ní economics windfall. Kò máa ń pè ní economics yẹn normal windfall yes an unexpected income in a large amount. So kò máa ń pè ní nǹkan tá à ń pè ní windfall nìyẹn. So you will not base ẹ mọ̀ pé tó bá yẹ pé absolute income là ń sọ ìyẹn ẹ mọ̀ pé current income nìyẹn sọ pé ó ń affect current consumption. So the fact pé gómìnà ti fi 1 million ẹ máa increase consumption yìí tó bá yẹ pé absolute income theory là ń sọ. But in this case, you are not going to increase your consumption. I will just continue with the recording and send to you.
I will rely on the recording.
Yeah. I'll continue with the, yes, I'll continue the recording and send to you. So let me just proceed. So nǹkan tí permanent income ń sọ, okay, let me send you a video. At least you'll be able to see that one.
Okay.
So at least for you to just have an idea of mo ti save ẹ síbi kan already tẹ́lẹ̀. Be 2 minutes video náà ni. ẹ lè play ẹ̀ gan kájọ máa mo ti send ẹ sí. No, since I can share you ẹ lè play ẹ̀ so I should be able to see it. Hey, network even bad. So network even bad. So maybe the days we are having our classes, I don't know, maybe you'd have to be maybe I'll just my fix the time 10 lobby chessy.
Yeah, wọn irú gbogbo àwọn fídíò bá yìí gbòde gbogbo bẹ́yìn.
Kí lẹ rí mà?
Ṣé bá ń gbọ́ mi o?
Èmi ń gbọ́ yín, mò ń gbọ́ yín.
Àwọn òyìnbó tó bá ti ń tó pọ̀ báyìí èmi ò láìkí kí n máa wò ó máa wò ó máa gbọ́
ó ti dá.
rí bíi pé which level be this?
Ó ti dá. Come down to my level. Okay. Okay. So I like to improve in, but even if it's cut off, I would just continue with it for the sake of time. So mo sọ pé kí èèyàn máa gba 200,000 lóṣù kí gómìnà wa kó wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa há 1 million in appreciation of what the iṣẹ́ takuntakun tí ibi iṣẹ́ yẹn ti ń ṣe sí development ti Ọ̀ṣun State. So based on the absolute income hypothesis, you are going to increase your consumption because now you have a higher income. 1 million tí wọ́n fún yẹn plus 200,000 then gbà níbi iṣẹ́ which is 1.2 million. So you will increase your consumption based on that. But permanent income hypothesis sọ pé kì í ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ pé people don't rely on windfall. That people don't rely on occasional incomes. Pé nǹkan tó máa ń determine the consumption pattern àwọn èèyàn is what they've foreseen to be a constant stream of income. So àwọn èèyàn ti máa wo life wọn pé okay, based on iṣẹ́ tí mò ń ṣe ń sìn kí ni constant stream of income tí wọ́n máa rí. So èèyàn tó mọ̀ pé 200k lòún gbà níbi iṣẹ́ lóṣooṣù even after the governor has given you 1 million, you are still going to be basing your consumption on the 200,000. That is, your current consumption will not significantly change from what it used to be, even though they gave you a 1 million naira windfall. So that is what the permanent income hypothesis is saying. Okay, income does not depend on consumption does not depend on what is going on, right? Occasionally. So it doesn't depend on our shocks to man higher income or something like that. It depends on what you think you are going to earn on a constant basis. So that's why it calls permanent income, a constant stream of income. So you make your decisions based on that constant stream of income. And I've given an example of the salary and the gift that the governor, has given to you, right? So when we now like so um finishing that, so what if somebody loses a job? So èèyàn tó bá lose iṣẹ́, so báwo ni ó ṣe máa react, right? So if you lose a job which is like where you think you are going to be having kí ló pè? Okay, let me not jump into that here. Let me just read what we have in this place. So permanent income hypothesis was postulated by Milton Friedman, and then Friedman rejects the use of current income as a determinant of consumption expenditure, and instead divides both consumption and income into permanent and transitory components. That is, Y, which is current income, is divided into two. So, which is permanent income plus transitory income. The permanent income now is like the constant income that an individual foresees himself to continue to earn over a period of time. While the transitory income is the windfall, the unexpected income flows, and all of that. So he also divided consumption into two. So consumption, you have the permanent consumption, and then you have the transitory consumption. So P is referred to as the permanent, T is the transitory. So it follows from the same explanation that permanent consumption is consumption based on your permanent income, while transitory consumption is consumption based on windfall, here and there. So unexpected money and all of that. So permanent income is defined as the amount a consumer unit could consume or believe that it could while maintaining its wealth intact. Wealth intact yẹn ló mean pé the constant stream of income that you expect pé mama get based on the job you're doing and other things that may be bringing you money that you already know should be bringing you money, not àwọn nǹkan tí ẹ lérò sí pé ó máa fún yín lówó. So it is the main income of a family unit. So the permanent income is the main income, like the 200K salary of a family unit, which in turn depends on its time horizon and far-sightedness. Now, it includes non-human wealth that it owns, personal attributes of the earners in the unit, the attributes of economic activity of the earners, such as occupation followed, location of economic activity, and so on and so forth. So it is just trying to like let us know that um, income that you will earn is what is called permanent income. So your possible income streams, èèyàn lè ti ṣe àwọn investment kankan. So besides the job that you're doing, so lè láwọn investment kan tẹ́ ti ṣe, maybe like every month or every year will be bringing you some amount of money, right? So that one too is also part of permanent income because you know that it is coming, and those are the things that you base your decisions on. Now, permanent income is defined. No, we've spoken about that. So other sọ pé it also depends on your occupation. Èèyàn tó jẹ́ accountant àti doctor àti teacher, your estimation of your permanent income is going to vary. So could they get the same thing, right? And why is it not going to be the same thing? Because based on your different occupations, you are going to be earning different things, different amounts. So the consumption of an accountant, for example, give or take, should be more than the consumption of a teacher, right? Because accountancy is more kí ló ń pè nísìn? Is more rewarding, right, financially than the teacher's job. So um, why is the consumer's measured income or current income, and it can be larger or smaller than its permanent income in any period. Now, why can your current income be larger or smaller than your permanent income? Now, for example, tẹ́ bá rántí, mo sọ pé current income is the addition. Current income is the addition of permanent income and transitory income, expected income and unexpected income, if you can put it that way. So irú ìgbà tí wọ́n bá tí fún yín lẹ́ni ìgbà tí governor tí fún yín ní anything, so your transitory income in that case was zero. That is, there was no unexpected income, so that was zero, right? So permanent income and your current income, they were equal. Ìyẹn settle yẹn. But by the time the governor came and gave you guys and gave everybody 1 million naira, so tẹ́ bá add díẹ̀ mọ́ salary yín, so ó ti ju permanent income yín lọ. That is, your current income is going to be 1.2 million and your permanent income was just 200K. So in that essence, 1.2 million is more than 200K. So it is possible for your current income to be more than the permanent income. So how about the possibility of your permanent income being lower than your current income? So in that case, bí a wọ́n ṣàkíyàn bí iṣẹ́, so nǹkan téèyàn gbójú lé pé ó yẹ kó máa fún lówó, right? Kò fún lówó mọ́, ìgbà téèyàn ò sí ibi iṣẹ́ mọ́, so permanent income ti drop, right? So in that case, um, if there is transitory income, and tí ó bá tó iye téèyàn ń gbà as permanent income, so your current income is going to be lower than your permanent income. So there are different cases where you can have permanent income being equal, lower or higher than your current income. So continuing that explanation, it says, why is the consumer's measured income or current income? It can be larger or smaller than his permanent income in any period. So such differences between measured and permanent income are due to transitory component income, the YT, which I've explained. So transitory income may rise or fall with windfall gains. An example of your windfall is the money that the governor gave you, or losses. So how can you have a windfall loss? Um, Maybe okay, the example is not stated here. If the transitory income is positive due to a windfall gain, the measured income will rise above the permanent income. If the transitory income is negative, if the transitory income is negative due to theft, this is like uh, theft is something that you don't expect too. So that's an unexpected loss in wealth. Your giant or giant lole or kó nǹkan téèyàn ní. So like your income is going to your transitory income is going to be negative in that aspect, because nobody expects that people come and burgle their houses and all of that. So if the income is negative due to theft, the measured income falls below permanent income. So the transitory income can also be zero, in which case measured incomes equals permanent income. So if there was no theft, there was no bad thing happened to you shockingly, and no good thing happened to you shockingly. So definitely, your permanent income is going to be equal to your current income. So proceeding with that, permanent consumption is defined as the value of services that it is planned that a household plans to consume during the period in question. So planned expenditure. um, Measured consumption is also divided into permanent consumption and transitory consumption. Permanent is the one that is based on your permanent income. Iye tí mò ń gbà lọ́wọ́ oṣù lélẹ̀ ní owó oṣù lélẹ̀, and tówó oṣù bá jẹ́ the only income téèyàn earn, so iye tá lè ná based on owó oṣù tó ń wọlé lélẹ́yìí, right? Whereas the transitory income, the transitory component, transitory consumption is talking about money that you spend based on income that you receive that you did not expect, right? So, um, transitory consumption is a measured consumption or current consumption may deviate from or equal to permanent consumption depending on whether the transitory consumption is positive, negative, or zero. So I'm going to leave all of these equation parts. Well, CP is a function of KYP, that is, permanent consumption is a fraction of the permanent income. So where K is a function of I think real interest rate, wealth, and okay, where is it? K is a function of rate of interest, then rate of ratio of property, that is wealth, and U is consumers' propensity to consume, MPC. All right. Then the equation tells us that over the long period, consumption increases in proportion to changes in YP. So tabari, because this is like proportional, C is a function of YP. So by the time somebody's irú in your gba 200,000 naira níbi iṣẹ́, right? So that consumption pattern is based on that 200k. So over maybe the person that happens to get a higher paying job, bí àbẹ̀rẹ̀ sí wá ríṣẹ́ kan tó jẹ́ pé 1 million ló máa ń san bẹ́ẹ̀ fún yín sìn. So in that case, your permanent income has increased from 200k to 1 million naira. So which means that you can now you are going to increase your consumption based on this planned stream of income that you are seeing that you are going to be receiving. So nísìn sí lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ 200,000 naira per month mọ́, ẹ ti wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ 1 million naira. So the 1 million naira now is not a windfall, because eléyìí ó máa wá on a steady, iṣẹ́ tẹ̀ ń ṣe ń sìn ó máa wá on a steady. So an increase in your permanent income is what is going to cause your permanent consumption to increase, right? So nǹkan tí ẹ náà sọ níbi bẹ̀rẹ̀ náà nìyẹn. And then the self-assessment says that you should explain in detail the understanding of permanent income hypothesis. So ara nǹkan tá ti sọ yìí, so kẹ́ kún wọn pọ̀, kẹ́ enjoy ara yín. Now the life cycle hypothesis, which is the next one, But by the way, are you there? Is there a chance that you probably got anything I said? Because I can see that your video, your you're still in the meeting, um, but you are not saying anything. Okay, I think you are muted. You are muted. Hello, ma.
I'm hearing you.
You,
When I discover it, maybe it's when we are doing the two-way thing that the network is bad. Though. But when you are speaking, I do hear.
you heard everything I
So
said.
that's why I've been hearing you.
Wow. Okay, that's good. So, do you have any question before we move into the life cycle hypothesis or any contribution?
I will rewatch the video. It's breaking. It's not everything I hear.
Okay. No problem. No problem. I'll work on it and I'll
But
be
I don't
sent to
want to
you.
just. But I was hearing when you explained the equation.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Eh?
All right. All right, man. All right, man. So you can mute again and let me just continue. Ellie, mute this and can continue. So the life cycle hypothesis, eléyìí ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí consumption based on iye tí ọmọ ènìyàn tó ti rò póun lè rí throughout his entire life cycle. Now eléyìí yàtọ̀ sí planned, eléyìí yàtọ̀ sí permanent income. Permanent income ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí okay, iye tí ẹ fi kó máa wá on a steady. So you basing your consumption plans on the amount you think will be coming on a steady, right? Ìyẹn ni permanent income, and then the theory like broke your income into two: permanent income and transitory income. But ní under life cycle hypothesis, Franco Modigliani, and mi mọ orúkọ ìkejì tí Ando ń jẹ́, but the Modigliani is Franco ló bẹ̀rẹ̀, Franco. Franco Modigliani formulated, àwọn méjì ló jọ formulate theory hypothesis yìí, which is not a life cycle. So eléyìí sọ pé okay, consumption patterns àwọn èèyàn ó depend lórí iye tí wọ́n máa rí, the income that they are going to receive in their entire life cycle. That is from the stage of a youth to the stage from the to the age of someone's old age, something like someone's old age rather. So níbí báyìí ẹ jẹ́ kí wọ́n fi àwòrán síbẹ̀, so but màá fi àwòrán kan fi hàn wá so that we can understand the way this works properly. I think I already shared it with you before, but let me just see if it is here. Okay, no, what is in B? Jẹ́ kí n lọ wá ní tí mo save ẹ̀ sí. Tí màá dẹ̀ tí ó máa yà mí lẹ́nu tí màá tí save ẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀ o. Okay, yeah. So this image, so let me send it to you. Let me send these two images to you. There are three. Okay. All right. So I've sent three images to you on WhatsApp. So this is trying to explain what happens to what the life cycle income hypothesis is saying. So curve of saving, like curve tó lọ sókè tó wá padà wá sísàlẹ̀. So that the curve is showing the saving of a particular person. Their consumption only straight line, but line really straight. The one that can show what we are saying very, very well, only this third one, this third image, the last image I sent to you. By the way, consumption, eléyìí show consumption low, okay, but on low key steadily. Ṣé kókó low key bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, so it was steady. So nǹkan tí life cycle contract explain ni pé before an individual becomes nígbà tí èèyàn ṣì ń rọra lọ sí school, tó wà ní college and all of that, kò tí bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa earn owó. So but on consume, so ẹni yẹn consume, right, even though tí ò bá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa earn owó. So consumption yẹn tẹ́ bá rántí, consumption yẹn ni autonomous consumption tá a máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí. So báwo lẹni ṣe ń fund the consumption tí ó ń make at that particular period of time? It is through the saving, that is owó tó máa rí ní ọjọ́ iwájú, ó ń yọnú ẹ̀, ó ń ná lẹ́ni, so òun là ń pè ní the saving. So tẹ́ bá rí kíní consumption nígbà tó ń di save, the consumption curve òun wà lókè ní point tí ẹni yìí ti ń di save. So like C is more than ibi tí Y wà, Y ti sàlẹ̀ níbi tó wà, nǹkan tí mo try to show nìyẹn. So C is more than Y. So consumption line yẹn ó wà lórí the point of the saving. So on and on tó fi reach equilibrium at 25. So the equilibrium at 25 ń show pé okay ẹni yìí ṣì ń ẹni yìí ṣì ń kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀ ó ń disable up to that point. But ó máa get into a period of time tẹ́ pé ẹni yìí máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní máa ríṣẹ́. So eléyìí ni ìgbà tẹ́ni ẹ ti wà middle aged. So middle aged ní time so any time ọ̀dọ́ any time tí ẹni yìí wà middle aged. So ìgbà tẹ́ni yìí wà middle age ó ti ríṣẹ́ ń sìn ó ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ ó ti ń rí owó. So income ti ń lọ òkè. Consumption náà òun náà increase because of course iye tó máa ná sí time tó ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ ó tún máa yàtọ̀ sí iye tó ń ná as a college student. So consumption náà ń lọ òkè ó ní consumption line tún ṣe fi lọ sókè díẹ̀ náà sí, right? But nítorí pé ó ti ń rí owó níbi iṣẹ́ náà sí ó lè save, right? So òun la ṣe rí pé at this point now the saving line òun ju consumption line lọ in this middle part ibi tí wọ́n kọ lifetime sí. So the point between the saving. Am I still okay? I'm still recording. All right. The point between the saving, but I think okay if I want to share my screen now, well for you to enjoy this part of the class, you would have to you will have to watch these images. Timothy sent ni because I have to record. If I say I should show the screen, I won't be able to record again. So I just go through the images I'm sending. So I'm talking about the third image. Thank you. So it only number 15, 25, 35, 45 exactly. So ẹ máa rí pé income curve ní middle age, income curve yẹn òun lọ sókè ju consumption lọ. So when somebody is middle aged, income is more than consumption. And y minus c, torí income curve yẹn y lòun mean income, consumption ló wà ní òun straight line tó ń lò òkè díẹ̀díẹ̀. So y minus c ó máa fún wa saving. So ló fi jẹ́ pé region tí income fi ju consumption lọ òun ló fi show as saving níbí báyìí. So when somebody is middle aged, so tó bá ti bọ́ sí time tó ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ kó tó bọ́ sí time tó máa retire, ẹni ẹ wà able to save. So saving is positive. Now when it leaves that point, ó máa padà sí the second point níbi tí the saving wà. Income tún ti drop, consumption ti lọ òkè. Why tí income fi drop? Ẹni yóò sí níbi iṣẹ́ mọ́. So kò rí income mọ́, kò earn income mọ́, òun ló fi jẹ́ kí income yẹn tún fi drop again. Now but arúgbó ni ẹni báyìí. So the person has to be what? To be consuming. Á ṣáà jẹun. Then owó lórí retirement kíní kan ó máa gbà tọ́jú nurse bí ẹ ṣe sọ ní àtìbẹ̀rẹ̀ náà tẹ́lẹ̀. Ó máa gbà tọ́jú and everything like that. So at this point, consumption is positive. Ó tún gbéra sókè sí, but income has reduced. So I need 2 points of the saving. That is, nígbà tó jẹ́ ọ̀dọ́ tó sì ń lọ school tó ń gba loan láti fi rán lọ sí school. Dé point tó ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń ríṣẹ́, dé point tó tún fi kúrò ní labour force, tó ti di arúgbó tó ti retire and all of that. So nǹkan tí Franco Modigliani àti Ando ń try to explain yẹn pé okay, nǹkan tó ń determine bí èèyàn ṣe ń ná owó sí is based on what they foreseen themselves to earn throughout their life cycle, right? Throughout their life cycle. So ìyẹn ni ó ń determine consumption patterns and all of that. So it is not about current. So to these people now, tabasol with current income will look like short-sightedness. Okay, iye tó ń ná sí is depending on owó tó kàn rí sìn. So èèyàn máa dàbí ẹni tó máa ń náwó láòláò. So àwọn kan wà bẹ́ẹ̀ tẹ́ pé anywhere bẹ̀lẹ̀ face ni tó bá rí owó ńlá lénìí wọ́n á náwó yamayama. Tó bá jẹ́ pé owó kékeré náà lọ rí kò sí problem, wọ́n máa manage náà ni. So irú àwọn èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ ni àwọn Franco Modigliani sọ mí báyìí pé eléyìí kì í sọ̀rọ̀ pé current income, it is based on iye tẹ́ fi. So èèyàn máa de-save nígbà tí ó ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ tó ń lọ school and everything. But tó bá ti di pé òkè ó ti wá wà ní labour force tó ti ń ṣiṣẹ́, á máa accumulate savings tó wá accumulate láti fi take care rẹ̀ nígbà tó bá ti di ọjọ́ alẹ́ èèyàn ni. So that's about the this particular theory. So going back to our material to read what we have in the material. So I want to read everything. So Ando and Sam on page 50. Ando and Modigliani formulated a consumption function, which is known as this life cycle hypothesis. According to this theory, consumption is a function of lifetime expected income. So you note this one too. Lifetime as lórí income mẹ́rin báyìí, current income, relative income, kí ni kẹta yẹn náà? Permanent income. Then this one is cycle income, expected income throughout your life cycle. So the present value of his income includes income from assets. So income ẹni ń sìn kì í ṣe pé income tó ti ń ṣiṣẹ́ nìkan, ó lè jẹ́ income from assets náà tó bá ní owó tó ti dá nǹkan lé lórí, àbí bóyá even nǹkan tó bá jogún bá property and all of that, gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ló ti kópa as income. So consumption tó bá máa make will be based on everything tó jọmọ́ income tó máa rí, like over his life cycle, yẹn ló máa determine iye tó máa ná. So before discussing the life cycle hypothesis, the assumption should be noted. Number one, there is no change in price level during the life of the consumer. So kí ni assumption yìí mean? Ó mean pé kò sí inflation, kò sí deflation, price level is constant. So tẹ́ bá fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lórí weaknesses of this hypothesis, you have to attack this assumption because it is not real. In trying to criticize a particular, in trying to criticize anything, what are the things you look at? You look at the assumptions, and then you look at their conclusions. So in trying to criticize, yes, ẹ máa kọ́ fún ọ ní idea. Wọ́n tó bá kọ́ wo assumption wọn, kí ló base iṣẹ́ wọn lé lórí? Eléyìí sọ pé okay, number one ni pé kò sí change nínú price level. So that is nǹkan wọ́n sí, nǹkan dẹ̀ cheap sí. It doesn't make sense. Over somebody's lifetime, èèyàn tó bá máa live, tá bá tẹ̀ máa wo life, tá bá máa wo kí ló ń porúkọ ẹ̀? Expected life expectancy of Nigerians, I think for women and men, I think about 60 years. So I want to say, okay, ní gbogbo 60 years yẹn, nǹkan ni wọ́n sí, nǹkan dẹ̀ ní cheap sí. So that one does not, but that was one of the assumptions. Number two, the rate of interest remains the same. So interest rates, oh no, they change. So then consumer does not inherit any assets. So kò sí ẹni tó yọ̀ǹda ọrọ̀ fún consumer. So gbogbo ọrọ̀ tó bá ní òun fúnra ẹ̀ ló accumulate. So the consumer does not inherit any assets, and his assets are the result of his own savings. So kò sẹ́ni tó fún ní ọrọ̀ kankan. So the aim of consumer is to maximize his utility over his lifetime, which will in turn depend on the total resources available to him during his lifetime. So given the lifespan of an individual, his consumption is proportional to these resources. But the proportion of resources that the consumer plans to will depend on whether the spending plan is formulated during the early or later years of his life. As a rule, an individual's average income is relatively low at the beginning of his life. Exactly. So at this point, ó jẹ́ sí bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń ṣiṣẹ́ gan. So níbo tí ẹ̀ ló ti fẹ́ máa rí income lẹ́yìn bóyá mọ́mì fúnyàn ní owó díẹ̀ àbí uncle yàn fúnyàn lówó díẹ̀. So this is because the early years of his life, he has few assets. And during his late years, his labor income is low. Like later years in life, labor income is low. So it is, however, the middle of his life that his income both from assets and labor is high. So nínú ọrọ̀, because time to accumulate ọrọ̀ nìyẹn. Even savings got ọrọ̀ ni. Once you've saved is an asset too. Ọrọ̀ ni, then maybe nǹkan tó ti fowó rà tó fowó dè mọ́lẹ̀, and then income tó ń rí from iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe gangan náà, that is wage or a salary, àárín middle life yẹn na méjì ti jọ high. So as a result, the consumption level of the individual throughout his lifetime is somewhat constant or slightly increasing. So nǹkan tí wọ́n sọ bí ni nǹkan tí economics máa ń pè ní consumption smoothing. Smooth, ẹ̀ jẹ́ kí nǹkan smooth. Consumption smoothing. So SMOOTH,
Consumption.
smoothing. So smooth, SMOOTH. So recording yẹn stop ni mo tún ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní máa ṣe another recording. So then time middle life ẹ̀ á fi offset àwọn debt tó ti incur ní before he entered into the labour force. Á dẹ̀ tún fi save owó tó tún máa lò nígbà tó bá tún kúrò nínú labour force. So of course, then ara owó yẹn náà ló tún máa fi gbádùn ara rẹ̀, ló máa tún ná lórí consumption ní time yẹn. So he's just trying to, like, based on the saving and saving, á ti kó ogbó ẹ̀ pọ̀, á wá fi estimate iye consumption tó ń lè make, so that saving tó bá kù tó ti accumulate during middle life yẹn á lè sustain it till he dies. So kì í ṣe kì í ṣe oníná àpà. So á ti wò pé okay, estimation of okay, this is like my net savings lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí mo ti san gbèsè àti nǹkan tí mo tún yọ nílẹ̀ fúnra mi ní ẹ̀yìn ìgbà tí mo bá ti di arúgbó or something like that. so a fi estimate okay iye consumption báyìí ni mo máa make. So irú èèyàn báyìí tó bá dédé rí owó kan tó ṣe fìrì ní time ẹ̀ kò ní náwó náà nínú àpà bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. So because ó tún ń wo ọjọ́ iwájú náà pé ìgbà kan bọ̀ tí mi ò ní rí owó kankan from iṣẹ́ tí mò ń fi ọwọ́ mi ṣe, right? So tí n bá rí owó kan fìrì màá lọ tún fi pamọ́ náà ni, so that a lè fi take care mi ní my later years when I'm no longer working. Mo ti ẹ̀ mo kàdé báyìí.
ìrònú civil servant náà nìyẹn.
So ẹ rí pé lè bá civil servant gangan báyìí. So like gbogbo wọn ṣáà ń try àti ṣàlàyé bí àwọn èèyàn ṣe nǹkan tó ń determine behaviour àwọn èèyàn sí bí wọ́n ṣe ń consume. So nǹkan tí gbogbo wọn try àti ṣàlàyé tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ rí bí mo ṣe wà yìí gan as an individual, like I can't really say this is the one that I'm going to like fall in line to, because gbogbo ẹ̀ náà in one way or the other náà ló ń ṣàlàyé bí èèyàn ṣe ń ná owó. In one way or the other gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ló ń relate, gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ló ń relate. But civil servant of course life cycle yìí like normal thing ni, because èèyàn á save fún retirement. Kọ́lọ́ máa ti jẹ́ kí àwọn tó máa tún jẹ pension èèyàn tó máa waste ẹ̀ tí wọ́n ní san lásìkò, kọ́lọ́ máa kéèyàn tún bọ́ sí páńpẹ́ àwọn èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. So the aim of the consumer is to maximize utility over his lifetime, which will in turn depend on total resource available to him during his lifetime. So given the lifespan of an individual, his consumption is proportional to these resources. But the proportion of resources that the consumer plans to will depend on whether the spending plan is formulated during the early years or his later years. As a rule, an individual's average income is relatively low at the beginning of his life. This is because the early years of his life has few assets, and during his late years, his labor income is low. It is, however, the middle of his life that his income, both from asset and labor, is high. As a result, the consumption level of the individual throughout his life is somewhat constant or slightly increasing. So there's a graph here on what? So consumption here, of course, on line that goes straight, but really straight not bad. So conclusion, we've explained various theories of consumption function, starting from absolute income hypothesis through relative income hypothesis and permanent to life cycle income hypothesis. Now the conclusion here is that individual theories concluded that different factor has been the major influence of consumption at any particular period. So conclusion one here, say ìkànnì current income ni, ìkànnì permanent income ni. But lọ́rọ̀ kan ṣá, ìṣá income, like all of them, income ṣá, like that's what they are just trying to say. But the type of income that it is, lower vary. So to help you with your assignments, fún ti life cycle yìí, ó ní point kan tí mo ti rántí. So one of the criticism ni pé ó ń sọ pé income àwọn èèyàn máa ń draw down ní time táwọn èèyàn ò ṣiṣẹ́ mọ́, pé income máa fall bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, consumption máa high, that is after this thing. But then àwọn èèyàn kan wà tó yẹ pé even after retirement they make a lot of money because they already have a lot of assets, so income tí wọn ò drop. You understand bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn? So of course, and you'd have noted that point anyway. So irú àwọn that's correct, irú àwọn income will drop. Then number two, àwọn kan wà tó yẹ pé wọ́n ní ọrọ̀, right? So like instead of them to be, because bí eléyìí ṣe rí so ó dàbí pé èèyàn padà di liability ni lórí ààrẹ, income ti drop, consumption ṣe increase, so saving ìgbà yẹn ló wá fi ń take care rẹ̀. But àwọn kan wà tó yẹ pé wọ́n ní ọrọ̀ débi pé wọ́n tún fílẹ̀ fọmọ, so kì í ṣe pé so there is bequest. So nǹkan tó ń pè ní bequest in case tẹ́ bá bá pàdé. So like wealth is bequest. So some people will store up wealth not just for them to consume after retirement. Wealth yẹn ti pọ̀ jù. Irú Dangote ń sìn ẹni pé okay òun irú èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ pé tóun bá stop láti máa jẹ́ entrepreneur tó jẹ́ ẹ̀sìn pé okay income máa drop. Báwo ni income ṣe ń drop? Eléyìí ṣiṣẹ́ débi pé nǹkan tí ìrandíran tó máa jẹ ó ti wà ńlẹ̀ fún wọn. The man was saying that he's 67 years old lórí ọ̀rọ̀ refinery issues yìí. He was saying that he's 67 years old, pé in less than 3 years he's going to be 70. So what he needs to sustain his life is very little. It's very, very small. So, and tẹ́bádẹ́ wo náà, kí ló fẹ́ nonsense between from now on to like maybe even if he lives up to 100 years compared to the amount of wealth that he has amassed. So this theory does not work for people like that. So ara tẹ́bádẹ́ sí máa ka criticisms ara nǹkan tẹ́ máa bá pàdé nìyẹn. So you see something around bequest. You see something about people not being liability. So people having enough wealth, and some people still making money even after they've left the labor force. Story ọrọ̀ tí wọ́n ti àwọn investment kan tí wọ́n ti make won't generate a lot of money that may even be more than what they were earning when they were even working. So ibi tí honestly me believe pé class yìí máa gùn tó báyìí because I have read other topics tí mo ti fi ìgbà tá a bá ṣe parí ilé báyìí a tún máa bọ́ sí àwọn yẹn but like with the way it is àti gbìyànjú náà lénìí so I don't know if you have any comments or something. Comments in the voice note. If this one is not, if this one is, èmi kúkú ń gbọ́ yín ná. So like you may say whatever it is you want to say. So I may now respond to your comments and so yẹn máa lára audio. But èmi gbọ́ yín. Tẹ́ bá sọ anything like I am going to hear you. So I don't know if you have comments, questions. Okay, okay. So mi mọ̀ tẹ́ bá ní comments, questions or anything.
Not for now.
Okay,
Nothing for now.
okay. So I think it's safe to call it a day here. Then I'll work on having the video sent to you maybe overnight or something. Mo máa ní láti ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí kí data ẹ̀ kó má lọ pọ̀ jù tí n bá upload.
The last class now, it is said.
Yeah. I couldn't. The thing is, I fell ill actually. I don't know if I told you. I fell ill over the weekend, so ara ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ń balẹ̀ ni. Yeah.
In fact, mo fẹ́ bèrè pé ṣé o ní kàtá ni.
Yeah.
So network yẹn flow dáa, ó lè jẹ́ kó jẹ́ pé òun ló jẹ́ kí
Yeah. Mi ò ní mo ní kàtá but it's not like kò ń ṣe tẹ́tẹ́. I don't have a running nose, but like ara mi ò feel tutù. Ara mi ò feel tutù rárá. So yeah, but we are getting better ṣá. Àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ máa ń béèrè pé tá a bá dé Canada pé báwo la ṣe máa cope. Mo ní bọ̀ ẹ́ tá a bá dé Canada Ọlọ́run á fún wa ní okun. Ọlọ́run tó bá me so there's nothing God cannot do. There's nothing God cannot do. But mi ò sí lára àwọn tó ní jápa something in my mind like I'm not part. So and I believe pé ìrìn àjò ẹ̀dá Ọlọ́run ló ń direct ìrìn àjò tèmi. So I don't know about other people. So tásìkò bá tó tọ́lọ́run bá ní okay this is the next step. Ọlọ́run tó bá sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ló máa fún yàn ní nǹkan téèyàn need láti fi cope nírú environment yẹn because mo kàn wá sick lójoojúmọ́ ni. Yeah, thank you, ma. Yeah, thank you very much, ma. All right, so like I said, over the night I'll work on this thing and send it across to you.
No problem.
All right.
Then you said you send our videos at the beginning.
So it shifts of shifts of kini. So and I wanted to say something. Only topic be mélòó kan tí mi ní sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀ because I don't even know what they are doing. So I think they are olórí investment ṣá lọ́wọ́ sàlẹ̀. Then our next topic is on investment. I think theory of interest and whatever. So tá bá ti sọ̀rọ̀ lórí yẹn ó ní part kan tí mo máa skip because you can't understand it now. Or you may understand it now, but like it will take too much effort. So I'm lọ ṣe àwọn topic kan ní towards like later. Tá bá cover àwọn máa padà sí èyí tí mo skip yìí so gbogbo ẹ̀ lè bá set dáadáa. Yeah, so that's Ọlá akọ àmọ̀ṣe. So my own intention initially was that the first month was going to be for macro. That's my own intention. So I'm happy this first month I've parí this material. Then the second month will now be for econometrics. So that was my intention before. But since you now came up and said that ẹ máa fẹ́ pé kẹ́ máa ṣe lábọ̀ a lè ṣe ẹ́ náà. All right, so I can't hear you anymore. So take care of yourself, ma. Ìpàdé tún di ọ̀la by God's grace. I said take care of yourself. Ìpàdé tún di ọ̀la by God's grace.